From the National Newsroom of the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed. Flights at Canada's largest airport are operating normally despite an investigation into a police-involved shooting that killed a 30-year-old man. Ontario's police watchdog says 2 officers fired at the man outside the departures level at Terminal 1 of Toronto's Pearson Airport this morning. Officers had been called to the scene to resolve a dispute between a group of 2 or 3 people who were known to one another, but it escalated when the man allegedly took out a firearm. Officials have described it as an isolated incident that did not target the airport itself. With just days before Canadians head to polls to elect their new government, Liberal leader Mark Carney took focus on the campaign trail today. He came under fire from party leaders about not being forthcoming about what happened on the March 28th call with Donald Trump. Carney is now saying that Trump talked about Canada becoming the 51st state during their first bilateral call last month.
The president has certain things in his mind that he reverts back to all the time, but treated me as the prime minister, not as something else. I'm not even going to say the word he used to use about my predecessor. Treated me as the prime minister. We had discussions as sovereign nations. We agreed as sovereign nations that these negotiations will begin after the election on Monday.
NDP leader Jagmeet Singh says since Carney wasn't forthcoming about what Trump said during the phone call, he may also not be frank with Canadians about the country's position in trade negotiations with the United States either. Meanwhile, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is predicting a gloomy future of more crime and higher inflation under a Liberal government led by Carney.
This is Mark Carney's vision for Canada, a country where you don't get to choose what kind of car you drive, where prices on everything skyrocket to fund his radical ideology, where Canadian workers in places like Oshawa and Windsor face losing their jobs.
Poilievre says if his party is elected, it will scrap Canada's electric vehicle sales quotas. Election day is Monday. A Quebec court has overturned an out-of-province tuition hike and French language proficiency requirement at English universities. A Quebec Superior Court judge found the Quebec government's 2023 decision to increase out-of-province tuition by $3,000 or 33% was unreasonable and based on limited data. Although the fee hike may remain in place for up to 9 months until the government revises its tuition plan. McGill and Concordia Universities launched a legal challenge of the changes last year. And city buses in Montreal have dropped the expression Go Canadiens Go following a complaint to Quebec's language watchdog.
Montreal's transit agency says it is now using the French expression Allez, Canadiens, allez, to show support for the Montreal Canadiens' NHL playoff run. The agency made the change because go is an English word. However, the expression Go Habs Go is widely used in Quebec to support the Montreal hockey team, including by francophones. Giuseppe Valianti, The Canadian Press, Montreal.
This is The Canadian Press. In sports, the Ottawa Senators will look to get back on track in tonight's Game 3 of the Battle of Ontario. Ottawa dropped the first 2 games of the best-of-7 playoff series to the Maple Leafs in Toronto. Senators captain Brady Tkachuk says his group is ready to meet the challenge.
Biggest game of the season, and that was really nice to be home yesterday and get some family time, get the mind off hockey a little bit, and rejuiced, ready to go, and ready for a big one.
Ottawa will play its first home playoff game since 2017. Elsewhere, the Winnipeg Jets are aiming for a 3-0 stranglehold in St. Louis against the Blues. Florida takes on Tampa, and Minnesota welcomes Vegas. Lionel Messi and Inter Miami visit the Vancouver Whitecaps tonight for the first leg of the CONCACAF Champions Cup semifinal. A crowd of more than 52,000 people is expected at BC Place Stadium. And round 1 of the National Football League draft is set to take place tonight in Green Bay, Wisconsin. From the Canadian Press, I'm Naira Ahmed.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to follow and subscribe. For more of today's top stories, visit thecanadianpressnews.ca.